G'day, Grievers. Got live a little bit early, but I'm curious to see if anyone even comes into this channel because I'm now going to be doing all my cooking on this channel, on the Shitty Kitty Kitchen. But I'm making a spiced carrot soup that you serve with feta. It's delicious. I'm cooking it because I went to a family birthday yesterday, and a couple of our family members, Pat and Mary, they grow their own carrots. And I got this beautiful bowl of homegrown carrots to use. And I was like, oh, I'll make the spicy carrot soup. Now, you do need 1 kilo of carrots. Usually, I would only use carrots in this recipe. But as it turned out, I had a sweet potato that has made this amount to 1 kilo. So, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. Normally, though, like I said, just do carrots because it's so light and yummy. But I'm just going to peel the carrots, see if anyone comes in. This might kill some time to see if anyone does. I don't even know if people get alerts for this channel. I'm just going to get a different peeler. This one's a bit big and chunky for little carrots, little homegrown carrots. So, yeah, I have put the recipe in the description. If you'd like to give it a go. And like I said, I love this soup. It's really light. It's easy to make. It's another one of those ones that's just yummy to have in the fridge. If you feel like a little cup of soup or whatever as a snack, you really can't get much healthier. And also, it's a beautiful dinner too if you serve it with like some crusty bread. There was one person watching for a brief moment and they've left. So not off to a great start, but that's okay because I'm just going to get on with cooking and start uploading, or not uploading, but have these little videos for people. If they want to cook along, they can when they've got the ingredients. Curious to see how everyone's doing too. Haven't been live since the news about the Queen dying broke, so I feel like I haven't spoken to anyone for ages, on YouTube at least. Had a really busy weekend, and today was actually, it's new to me, but the job I've got, we get rostered days off, and today was a rostered day off for me, so that's been really nice. See, I'm doing my meal prepping, cooking, whatever, which I normally do on a Sunday. Getting that done today. I'm also going to be cooking a curry from the south of India. I think it's pronounced Kerala or Keralan curry, a chicken curry. But I've set up a separate live for that. So when I finish this, I'm going to start a second live so that each recipe is sort of, you know, just one shorter live rather than a really long one that you guys have to pour through to get to the substance. Interesting. I don't know if anyone will join me, but that's okay. I thought about doing this just as a video, and maybe that's what I will start doing. But I am live. If someone does feel like a chat and they wander in, that'll be lovely. But yeah, just peeling these carrots. They're getting smaller too. They're tricky, man. I'm really not that precious, though. I do use a hand blender to, you know, blitz it all up at the end. So what's a bit of dirt in your soup? But if you do have a crack at this, I would recommend you try doing it with the kilo of carrots, because that way you'll just get to see how light and tasty it is. The sweet potato that I'm adding will make it a little bit thicker, but it's not going to be too detrimental, hopefully. So I'm just going to chop all of these up so that this bit's prepped before we start doing the soup. It's about 10 minutes of prep, about 30 minutes of cooking, and you'll have a scrummy soup. And again, it's a really affordable one because carrots still aren't like crazy expensive like so many other things are becoming. So it's a pretty affordable way to feed your family, especially if you get lots of yummy bread and so on, because this makes about 2 litres of soup. So you can get quite a few servings out of it, feed quite a few people with it. Okay. And just roughly chop them up. You don't have to be too precious about how you chop them because, like I said, they are all going to get blitzed together anyway. But you want to keep them fairly consistent in size as well, just so that they cook evenly. Nobody's joined me. I'm on my own. Roughly chopping the sweet potato. Maybe I should have gone live on Better Call Tour as well. Just to have someone to talk to. Okay. Just going to pop the sweet potato and the carrots, beautiful homegrown carrots, into a bowl. And then we're going to get on with making the soup. But the first thing I need to do is chop up an onion. So you need 1 onion. Chopped up. Again, you don't have to be too fussy about chopping it really finely or anything like that because it's all going to get blitzed at the end anyway. Oh, and I'm throwing onion skin everywhere, as you do. So I'm literally roughly chopping, not finely, roughly. And I'm going to turn on my pan. I use a fairly large saucepan when I make soups. This kind of size. Pretty big. But I'm going to turn that on. Just to like a medium heat. And that's going to do for the onion. And into the pan as it heats up, we want to put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. It's all guesswork around here. And about 50 grams of butter. And I always say to people that 30 grams of butter, because quite often 30 is the amount. If you sort of picture in your mind what those old redheads matchboxes look like, that sort of size, that's about 30 grams. I don't know where I learned that. I learned it a long time ago, but it's a good way to remember. So we're just going to melt the oil and butter. And I'm also just going to grab my spices and get out all the spices that we need. I forgot to buy some fresh ginger, so I'm going to be using ground ginger. I've got to pop out into the garden and get some thyme leaves. We want some cumin. We're also going to get some stock cubes because I usually make my own stock, but I'm totally out of it at the moment, out of stock. So I'm just going to use some stock cubes. I'm using chicken ones, but you could use vegetable stock cubes if you want. And we're just melting the butter and the olive oil at the moment together. I might just pop out to the garden, the herb garden, and get the fresh thyme. Went a bit crazy on the fresh thyme out of the herb garden, but whatever I don't put into the soup, I can use as a garnish. Just giving that a really good wash. There we go. Fresh thyme out of the herb garden. Lovely. Right, that butter and oil is starting to melt. It's taking a while to heat up. This is a very heavy base saucepan, so it does take a little bit longer to heat up than some of the other ones. Oh, shit, you know I didn't get ginger or garlic. Oh, well, I've always got the emergency garlic paste. Next time you're at the supermarket, if they sell stuff like this, grab some tubes because they're so handy if you forget to buy some fresh stuff. And I haven't bought ginger or garlic, so I might actually have a ginger one as well. I do. Excellent. We might as well use those up. Okay, the butter and oil is now heated, so we're going to just whack that onion that I chopped a little bit earlier. I've got one person watching, but they're not saying hello, but that's okay. Nice to have you here, Lurker. Welcome to the Shitty Kitty Kitchen. And we need about a 2 centimetre piece of garlic finely grated, or if you're using the tube stuff, I don't even know. I usually just guesstimate, but this tube is nearly finished, so I'm just going to put the whole lot in. But yeah, I thoroughly recommend it, especially if you don't cook with things like ginger a lot. They're worth buying because if you do buy fresh ginger, it's a little bit high maintenance in how you keep it fresh, and it's really expensive at the moment. So you don't want to have to chuck out ginger that you didn't use. So those little tubes are sort of a good backup. And then the same with garlic. Like, I cook a lot, but if you buy a big bulb of garlic and only use like 1 clove and then it's sort of wasted, at least if you buy these little tubes, you just use what you need and they don't go off. But 2 cloves of garlic, so I'm just guessing a couple of teaspoons should suffice. I've probably done a bit more than that, but I love garlic, so we're just going to give that a cook for a little while and let the onions soften. I was keen to see how everyone was, but maybe Monday afternoon's not great for the live cooking. Everyone's probably still at work. But I'm not. I have a rostered day off. Woohoo! But we really just want to cook this till the onion is soft. You don't want it to be, caramelized. Like, you don't want it to be going brown. You just want it sort of a bit translucent. But it already smells amazing. Isn't it incredible? Just some butter, oil, onion, garlic, and ginger. How incredible the house smells. Just grabbing some water for when we do the stock. And I'm really simplifying this. Like, normally I'd have my own homemade stock, or I'd boil water and, do the stock beforehand. But we're literally just going to chuck everything in the pot as it goes. But you sort of want your onions to be getting a little bit translucent and a bit softened. Give that another minute or two. And while that's doing the last minute or two, I'm just going to get some of the thyme leaves off the little stalks, because they're very tiny little leaves and it can be quite fiddly getting them off. We need about a tablespoon of thyme leaves, so I've got a fair bit of thyme leaf plucking to do. But I'm actually not going to bother plucking. I'm just going to put them in stalks and all, and then I'm just going to hopefully give them a good blitz. And if I do get the occasional stalk when I'm eating it, well, too bad. All right, so the onion is pretty much good to go now. So the next thing is we're going to chuck in the kilo of carrots. Like I said, I only had half a kilo of the homegrown carrots from my family members, so I've bulked it up to a kilo with chunks of sweet potato. But if you do try this recipe, I thoroughly recommend you do the carrots only version. This will still be beautiful, but when it's just the carrots, it's a lot lighter. The sweet potato is going to give it a bit of body, a bit of depth. So I'm just mixing that all up a bit so it's all got the onion, garlic, ginger, butter and olive oil happening. And then to that, we're going to also increase the heat. To high. I'm not going full high on my oven because that's like crazy high. We want to add 3 teaspoons of ground cumin. And it doesn't look like I have. I've got a feeling I've got an overflow packet somewhere. From my spice rack, maybe I don't. Yeah. I've got cumin seeds. But no ground cumin in my reserve bucket. But that's all right. I'm just going to chuck in seeds because, again, we're going to blitz. Hey, Michelle P. Oh, my God, so good to see you. Sounds like everyone's had a crazy summer. We've had a pretty lovely winter, although we've got snow again, just when we thought spring was coming along. So there's ground cumin. I mean, I do have a grinder. But I'm actually just going to chuck seeds in as well. Like, I'm not being too precious about this. but about 3 teaspoons of cumin is what you want. And I'll just blitz the crap out of it. It's going to have bits of thyme and bits of cumin seed and all kinds of things. But we want to give this a really good cook. And we do, on this occasion, we do want some caramelisation to start happening with the carrots and the sweet potato, just so that adds a bit of flavour. So while that continues to cook away, I'll go back down here and continue plucking thyme off my herb garden, homegrown thyme. I'm glad you've had a busy summer though, Michelle. It means you've been out and about and doing stuff, although definitely people in the community have been saying that they've been, you know, sweltering and sitting under their air conditioning because of just how insanely hot it got. I can't remember whereabouts in the States you are, but spring is definitely on its way here. We've had blossoms on the trees for a couple of months. And then we had this little blast of really beautiful, here comes spring weather, and little baby lambs jumping around in the paddocks and all the rest of it. And then it snowed again, not to sea level, but so about 7 minutes, you'll start to see some caramelisation on your carrots, and that will boost the flavour. It's a really yummy soup, Michelle, and like the sweet potato, because I had to use that to fill up to get up to that kilo, it will make this one a bit denser. But when you don't have any sweet potato in it, it's just so light and spicy, and then you garnish it with lemon zest and feta, and it's just delicious. Serve it with some bread if you want to bulk it up a bit. But it's really yummy. I've been meaning to make this for ages. There's thyme everywhere. I'm just going to chuck some of it off my fingers straight into the pot. So we are getting a bit of caramelisation happening. A lot of the soups that I make, I usually roast the veggies before to sort of get really deep flavours. Oh, you're in Canada. That's right. You had great weather. Awesome. Hey, how's everyone in Canada dealing with the death of the Queen? It's kind of interesting how everyone's been affected. Like, you know, I mean, I'm all for Australia becoming a republic, although realistically that debate won't reignite, even though people are trying to reignite it already. But unless the current Prime Minister goes into a second term, I doubt that there'll be a referendum about us becoming a republic. But kind of feels like we all lost a grandma. And it's interesting reading about how our money's going to change, you know, and have King Charles on it. Although the Queen is on our coin, she's also on our $5 bill. And we're also getting, are you getting the National Day of Mourning? Because we've got a public holiday happening now on Thursday, the 22nd of September, which is a day off for me anyway. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that we get this one-off public holiday. And then we also celebrate the Queen's birthday. And all of the states in Australia, of course, not all of them. I mean, there are some states that are on the same day, but like in Tassie, we celebrated in June, even though her birthday was the 21st of April. But they're going to keep that public holiday. It's just now going to be known as the King's birthday holiday. Some are more affected than others, but most are kind of indifferent. Yeah, it's made me sort of reflect on, you know, everyone's getting very heavy and very political about, you know, the atrocities committed by the British Empire. And I mean, I can still look at her life, and yes, you can also crap on about how people are born into privilege and everything else, but it's still a remarkable life. And we've only had a queen in our lifetimes. The Australian national anthem up until 1984 was God Save the Queen. Even the other night, my sister and I went to a little community hall down on the Tasman Peninsula for a movie night, and there's a picture of the Queen hanging on the wall that would have been there for 100 years. So this will just give you a bit of an idea of how the carrots and sweet potato are sort of coming along a bit. You can see a bit of browning happening now. So it's time to add all the other stuff. We're going to add 1.5 litres of water. I probably should have used boiled water, but if that pot's very hot, it won't take long to warm up. So yeah, a litre and a half of water or stock. You haven't heard about it? Yeah, it's apparently let's wait to put ginger. God, I'm vague. Apparently, I think you will, because we are too. And apparently it's tradition that you get a public holiday when a monarch dies as a national day of mourning. And the reason ours is the 22nd, it's because the Prime Minister is going to be in England for her funeral. So Parliament's on hold at the moment in Australia. And I think Parliament is forced. I'm just adding stock cubes. Like I said, I'm doing this as... Oh, I'm cheating a bit. I'm not preparing stock beforehand or anything like that. Yeah, so apparently it's like 14 days after the announcement of the death of the monarch, all parliaments are suspended out of respect. And this is the thing, like, there's all these traditions and stuff that we're learning about because we've never lived through this before. That's kind of interesting. And then I'm not sure how long after the death is announced the day of mourning is, but ours is next Thursday. So it's actually after her funeral because they're over there for it. Yeah, your money will change as well. So I've just put 1.5 litres of water, and I've put 3. I've gone for chicken stock, but you could use vegetable stock. These are actually chicken style. They are actually vegan-y sort of, PC stock cubes. And we just want to get that up to the boil. And then we're going to let it cook for about 20 minutes and blitz it up, and it's done. So it's a pretty easy soup. I mean, in terms of knowing when your carrots are cooked, when you're making soups and things like that, the trick is to try and squish it with the back of a spoon. So you can pull like a little piece out of the mix and then use a teaspoon, and if it squishes. But because I'm using sweet potato, that's actually going to probably take as long as the carrots. So, yeah, we can just hang out for 20 minutes. It smells amazing. I like showing people soups too because they're really yummy. Like with you guys heading into winter, they're really easy to make. My mum used to nearly always have a pot of soup on the stove when we got home from school, just so we could have a nice hot soup to warm up after walking home. I know you're under British rule. We are too. I know that you're part of the Commonwealth. You didn't know we are, or but yeah, you probably will. I didn't actually know about it until today, and it was announced, I think, in Australia yesterday. So, look, I don't think there's many Australians that are going to be complaining about getting a public holiday because the Queen has died. Yeah, although out of all the soups I make, this one is one of the lightest, especially if you just do carrots, no sweet potato. So it's a really nice all year round. I make soup all year round because there's some days where I'm like, have I had enough veggies today? And it's like, either have a green smoothie or some soup. No, but look, that's great though, Michelle. It means you've got a life. So it's only because it's my day off and I was a bit curious to see what was going on. And then I think I might have been listening to somebody on YouTube and they were talking about they were talking about the Queen's birthday and what would happen with that. And yeah, like I said, we'll still have that public holiday. It's just now going to be known as the King's birthday because it's not on her birthday anyway. So we're not losing that long weekend. But while I was reading that, the article mentioned that a date had been set for the National Day of Mourning. And I was like, oh, didn't know about that. Because, I mean, we haven't had a monarch die in our lifetimes. I mean, there are other people in the world that, have. They were around when Elizabeth's father died. But, you have to be well into your 70s to remember it. So, yeah. But us Aussies, we love our public holidays, and this is what's quite funny, if we become a republic, there'll be no more Queen's or King's birthday, I guess now, but maybe they'll have an Independence Day. Look, I don't know. It's sort of, I used to be really fired up about Australia becoming a republic, and I don't know, the older I'm getting, I'm just fascinated by all the, the traditions, and as outdated as they might seem, when you're actually living in a Commonwealth country, like I find it all pretty interesting. Pretty fascinating. So I'm just waiting for the soup to come to the boil. It'll need about 20 minutes. Once it's boiling, we're just going to simmer it. But a good rolling simmer. And then we're going to blitz the crap out of it. And we are learning as we go along. And that's why I think it's all kind of interesting. Because it's sort of, I mean, it sucks that, Elizabeth died. I mean, she's got kids and grandkids and great-grandkids that will all be missing her and be very sad at the moment. But she got to 96. She didn't make it to 100 so she could send herself a telegram. But, yeah, it's kind of a refreshing change, I guess, to what the, focus has been for the last few years with COVID. It's kind of, COVID was very much, I'd never lived in a global pandemic before either, neither have you, Michelle. So it was sort of an interesting time. And now we've got this other interesting time happening. I don't know, who knows how long King Charles will be around, but we may live to see William become king as well. Just tidy up a bit while I go. Because we are literally just hanging out now and watching a pot boil. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm finding it doesn't impact on what my beliefs might be about us, whether or not we should be a republic. Just going to go and fling all the peelings and everything off my deck. I live on a 3/4 of an acre. I've got a succulent garden underneath my deck, and my house is on stilts. So my compost is off the deck and down below into the garden. So it does all disappear very quickly, but occasionally when people visit, there might be like half a leek or something hanging out down below. But it's so much better to just chuck it into your garden if you can than have the sort of, the designated compost area, because that's where the rats and mice move in. This way they can all just pig out and move on. that's an easy fix. One of the okay, so now the soup is actually coming up to a boil. So yeah, 20 minutes, and then we'll blitz the crap out of it and be done. One of the things I love about spring down here is native freesias. And my garden, they're just everywhere, and it smells incredible when you walk out onto the deck. It's just the perfume is so beautiful. I don't know, do you have freesias in Canada? We Aussies say Canada because that's what one of our former prime ministers said. And it pissed me off because I used to call it that on stage when I did stand-up, just as a term of endearment. And occasionally someone would heckle and go, it's Canada. And I'm like, I fucking know. Oh, God. Not all of my jokes are hilarious. Yeah, it's really good compost. And I've got native animals. I've got, wallabies, echidnas, possums, bandicoots, the neighbour's dog and cat. Whenever my sister brings her dog here, Jackie Chan, and we let him down onto the block to do a wee, he starts foraging and then just like, oh, bloody hell. And my mum years ago, we had a greengrocer down the road and it got bought by this couple, Kevin and Tina, and they just weren't very good at keeping things fresh and getting rid of things that were close to expiring. So Mum used to call that compost Kevin's. So now Jackie Chan's foraging and my sister's like, bloody hell, he's compost Kevin. Yeah, they're incredible. They do smell amazing. Yeah, I've only ever been able to buy them at flower shops too, but down here there's native freesias and they're absolutely gorgeous. And as much as I want to pick them and put them in a little vase, they only last a day or two. They're pretty delicate, but the aroma is just incredible. I quite often grab one. There's a lot near my door and just stick it in my car, like in one of the air vents. So like for a day, I've just got that yummy, beautiful freesia smell. I'm glad you found me over here, though, because I've been doing cooking on both the Shitty Kitty Kitchen and this channel at the same time in the hope to migrate over here and do all my cooking just over here. So this is a bit of an experiment because I'm only live on the Shitty Kitty Kitchen, but clearly I still need to do it on Better Call Tour as well if I want a group of people hanging out. But it's so nice to see you, Michelle P. It's like we've caught up for a cuppa. And it smells incredible. The kitchen smells unbelievable. I might get my little stick blendery thing. Whoops. I prepared the thyme earlier and I didn't actually put it in. It's just sitting there. I'm going, oh, the thyme. I meant to put that in too. So just a little recount of what's happening. We're making a spiced carrot soup. It gets garnished with feta and lemon zest, which is pretty yummy. So basically we cooked the onion at the start in butter and oil with garlic and ginger. Then we whacked in the carrots. Oh, you got the notification. You're like, it's been a while. It has. It has. I'm trying to be a bit more sensible with my channels and focus just on, like, if it's cooking, we'll be here. If it's true crime, we'll be on Smooth Criminal. And if it's anything else, we'll be over on Better Call Tour, like batshit and stuff like that. Yeah, so a kilo of carrots, or on this occasion, I had a kilo of homegrown carrots. Sorry, half a kilo from Pat and Mary, some of our family members. So I've made up the kilo by using, as luck would have it, I had a sweet potato that weighed 500 grams, so that was perfect. But I would recommend if you make this soup, anyone that watches this on the replay, try it with the kilo of carrots if you can. The sweet potato will make it a bit thicker, but when it's just the carrots, it's so light and the carrots really absorb all of the spices, but then the sweetness of the carrot kind of balances out the spices as well. Like, it's delicious. And then we've added 1.5 liters of stock. I've gone with chicken, but you can use vegetable. Mine's a vegetarian stock that's chicken style. So they've managed to get chicken flavors, by using plants. And what else? Some fresh thyme out of my herb garden. A little bit of cumin, or quite a lot of cumin actually. And now we're just letting it cook, and hopefully the carrots and sweet potato will be fairly tender soon, and then we'll whiz it up. And I'll show you the way to garnish it, and then, save this recipe because it's an absolute ripper. It's a ball terror. I'll get some of the little garnish things prepared as well. There's few lurkers, but they're not saying hello. G'day, Groovers. Come and say hi, like one of the friendliest channels on YouTube. So I'm going to use one of my favourite gadgets in a minute, which I think it looks like Bart Simpson, but it is a lemon zester. And I'll get my stick blender out too. See, look, Michelle's being friendly and greeting the lurkers. Are you following any true crime stuff at the moment, Michelle P? Are there any crimes you're following? I'm covering a cold case that led to a guilty verdict a couple of weeks ago here, following a podcast called The Teacher's Pet, bringing the case back into the public arena. It led to an arrest and charges being laid and ultimately a conviction. Very interesting story. But I'm also, I guess, watching with interest. It does have the look of Bart. It's ridiculous, isn't it? His little nose and his hair. Oh, thanks, Joey. I was a bit worried about you, I'm not going to lie, so thank you, darling. The words you found are perfect. And I hope you're okay. I was concerned. But the only way I can check in on you is by being live on YouTube. So I love you, girl. I'm really glad you popped in. Oh, it's a ripper podcast, Michelle P. If you feel like listening to one, even though he's been convicted. I mean, in fact, probably all the more reason to listen to it now. And we're doing like regular shows on my Smooth Criminal channel about it. Like we're doing like a kind of study group. Anytime, Joe. Just glad you're okay. And I'm so stoked you popped in. Thank you, beautiful. Because, I was a bit worried. So Bart Simpson's doing I love this zester more than life itself. I mean, look at him go. Look at him go. Although this lemon is so overcooked, it's not funny. When it's a bit firmer, you get curly whirlies. But, so we do like little discussions, and we've only done one so far, which was the timeline. And the next one we're doing is specifically about the podcast, and there's a few peeps in the community that have started listening to it. And just also not just the podcast coming back into the public arena, but, how it brought the case back into the public arena and ultimately led to a conviction. I've just realised I don't need that much zest for my little demo bowl, but we're also going to be looking at how social media can influence civil and criminal trials, and I'm pretty sure it's the only judgment in Australia so far that actually talked about that. This feta is full as a gourd. My God, I've never bought this feta before, but it's little tiny cubes and it's got a little internal basket so you can drain it. How fancy. It was on special. I was like, I'll give that a crack. Oh, yeah, you had the crazy. I know, the brothers. I know, that was very weird. Oh, they both ended up dead. I remember hearing about it. I wasn't sure what had happened to them. That was really bizarre. And, yeah, the Kylie Rodney, I was sort of the school of she, 16, inexperienced, dark, late at night, possibly had a drink or two, and sadly a tragic but predictable outcome with all of those elements combined. But then I must admit, when Check It TV went down and found her belongings, I got interested again. I'm still not in the foul play camp at all, unless there's been some major developments in the last few days, because I haven't been around to get up to speed on it. I've had lots of family things on, which has been fun. Had a really good weekend. But I'm certainly interested in the police ineptitude aspect of it. The fact that all that stuff was just left in the bottom of the reservoir. So I did, all right, the sweet potato is soft. Is the carrot. Just nearly. I'll give it a little bit more. I can squash the sweet potato with a spoon, but I can't squash the carrot yet. So, yeah, I'm sort of... that got me talking about it the other day, and it was interesting how many people came into my life. I was just driving and chatting about how I'd watched Check It TV's little video. I was early for an appointment and was watching him initially just showing everyone the stuff on the bottom of the reservoir, and then when I came out of the appointment, he'd actually pulled out the stuff, including her laptop. And so, yeah, I was really intrigued, and I went live to chat about that. But, yeah, I'm still waiting for information. Like, I'm all for speculating based on information, but at the moment, or the last time I checked, it's still a lot of people. And there's so much drama, as usual. Creators all making it about them and crapping on about, who's shitty in the community and who's not. And it's like, yeah, but if you just go over to Check It TV or go to AWP Direct, I know they're now being criticised heavily as well about their clickbaity heading. And look, yeah, it was a bit, and I don't know. It's not that I'm numb to clickbait, but I was a moderator for a very clickbaity YouTuber. My first entry to the YouTube world was with someone who clickbaited more than anyone I've ever seen since. But, yeah, I just sometimes go, well, okay, it looked suspicious to them and that's why they did that. But you're in the camp of accident too. Yeah, there's definitely some questionable things, but even more questionable are the YouTubers, or at least one that I've heard about, who went to her memorial, even though the family sort of asked them to not go there. Well, I've got a press pass. I can go wherever the fuck I want. It's like, why? Who are you people? Why are you so entitled? It's disappointing. Very disappointing. All right, so we're going to have a bit of noise pollution in a minute because I'm about to start blitzing. The sweet potato is beautifully cooked, but the carrots, the gorgeous homegrown carrots, nope, they're good to go now. All right. So I apologise for the noise pollution coming up. Turn off the stove, and then we're just going to go ballistic with the stick blender. Yeah, Bullhorn Betty, I think. I didn't see her. I saw one of the reaction, or not reaction, like one, sort of clip channels covering it. So we're just going to blend this together. Yeah, I heard a clip. I was driving in to get some food for Sunny and not do my usual Sunday trip into the town nearby to get my groceries, and it came on like it was scrolling on, but it sounded like she went, blend away. Just going to crank it up to high. But if she did go, because I'm pretty sure the clip she was saying, I've got a media pass or whatever, but show some fucking respect to the friends and family of Kylie and just let them farewell her and celebrate her life. Like, you don't have to be in everything. And I would never, the gall of people, I would never rock up to somebody's memorial or funeral or even wake that I'd never met before. It's not the right time or place. Like, how dare you? And then from what I could gather, she was reacting to what Kylie's mother had said. It's like, excuse me? It's fucking annoying. So this is for you, Bullhorn Betty. Stick that in your bullhorn and blow it. I should have mentioned too, this is a thin soup. It's not like a really super chunky soup. It's very thin. Light. Get it, Tor? Yeah, Bullhorn Betty. This goes out to you. And anyone who wanders into this channel and discovers this recipe, if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't go looking to find out. Keep it that way. Your life is better. Trust me. You can kind of tell with stick blenders, they make a little bit of a noise when there's still things that they're crunching, a bit like when you make a smoothie in a blender. Like, as long as there's a bit of a clickety-click noise going, you're still blending up the ice and everything, and it's the same with this. But I don't mind the odd bit of lump of veggie in a soup. Doesn't bother me, but I'll just give it one more whiz, but it sounds like it's almost there. And that's it, my friends. I'll just remove the... Yeah, exactly. Much better off not knowing. So I'm going to show you how to garnish this little soup, because I think part of the fun of making soups is they all have little different ways to garnish them. And then I'm going to, after this, I'll just reset the kitchen, and I'm going to go live on this channel and also Better Call Tor. Or there's a big bit of, there's quite a few chunky bits. I'm just going to take a bit off the top just to show you how to do the garnish. Oh, wait a minute. I haven't seasoned it with salt and pepper yet. That's very important. Good handful of salt. And freshly ground black pepper. mix that all through. But yeah, it doesn't bother me if there's a few little chunky bits floating around, although they're quite big, so I will give it another little whiz off cam. But let's use up every bowl in the house. This is just a little sample bowl. Oh, I've already slopped all over it. Just to show you their suggested garnish. Let's get it out of the way. Turn it so you can't see the spilled bit. So grab a little bit of feta and crumble that. You like the chunks too? Yeah, it's kind of like a little gift with purchase, isn't it? It's like a little surprise. Go nuts with the feta. I might even put a few, since this is already beautifully cut. I love this little basket that you lifted out. This shit's posh. Check out my feta, guys. It's like a little, it drains it for you. And then it pops back in the fluid. Keeps it fresh. I love it. I normally decant it into a container and change the water every couple of days. I'm telling you, this shit's a lifesaver. And then we're going to also put a little bit of that lemon zest on top. And some more thyme leaves from the garden. And then I'll do a taste test in this live. Do a quick kitchen reset. And the next thing we're going to make is the Kerala coffee curry, which is from southern India. It's a chicken curry that we'll be making in a few minutes' time. So here's a little taste test. And like I said, if you serve this, sorry about the mess, I didn't plate it up very delicately. If you serve this with like some crusty bread or whatever, it makes the soup go a long way. But you've got like 2 litres of soup. And this, the beauty of this soup is it's, as we're heading out of winter and into spring, it's a lighter soup. The spices and the carrots sort of, the spice versus the sweetness of the carrots sort of cancel each other out and create this really robust flavour. And then you get that little tang of citrus with the lemon and the feta. It's definitely different, like I said, with the sweet potato that I had to bulk it up because I didn't have enough carrots. But the homemade carrots taste amazing. The spices, it's incredible. It is, I would recommend, like I said, though, try and do it with 1 kilo of carrots. But if you only have half a kilo, sub in some sweet potato. You could also sub in a potato, whatever you need just to get it up to that kilo of veggies. But it's a 10 out of 10 groovers. I finally cooked one of my favourite soups, and it's more orange in the flesh than it looks on the screen. But it's a 10. So thank you, Michelle. It's been fun hanging out. I'll do a quick little reset, and if you're still around, I'm going to be live again shortly making a curry. And I've got soup, and I'll have a curry to keep me going with yummy meals for the next couple of days. So I'll be back soon. Enjoy. It's delish. Give it a go. The recipe's in the description. And thanks for hanging out on the Shitty Kitty Kitchen. Please hit the like button on your way out, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye, Michelle P. Thanks for dropping in, Joey, and the little lurker. Good to have you here. Silent but deadly. That's not the way we like it, but you're always welcome here. Till next time. Goodbye.